Hello everyone, and welcome. In today's video, we will explore a quiet day in medieval Japan, a peaceful journey through the rhythms of everyday life in a time long past. From the first light of dawn to the silence of night, we will observe how people lived in harmony with nature, tradition, and simplicity. So, take a moment, relax, and step back in time with me. The night slowly fades into a quiet shade of blue as the first light of dawn touches the distant mountains of medieval Japan. The world is still, as if holding its breath between darkness and day. In the small village below, wooden houses rest silently under a thin morning mist, their rooftops gently glowing as the sun begins its slow rise. There is no rush here. No loud sounds of urgency or machines. Only the soft rustle of wind moving through bamboo forests and the distant call of birds greeting the new day. It is a moment suspended in time, where the world feels untouched and pure. Inside the homes, people begin to stir. Not with haste, but with calm familiarity. The rituals of morning are simple yet meaningful, sliding open wooden doors, kneeling briefly in quiet reflection, and acknowledging the beginning of another day. Even the air feels different at this hour, cool and fresh, carrying the scent of earth and wood. This is not just morning. It is renewal. As the light grows stronger, the village begins to reveal its rhythm. Smoke rises gently from small kitchens where fires are being lit. The preparation of tea, rice, and warm water becomes part of a silent ceremony that repeats every day, unchanged for generations. Outside, narrow dirt paths slowly come to life. A farmer adjusts his straw hat before stepping toward the fields. A woman carries a wooden bucket of water from a nearby well, her footsteps steady and unhurried. Children, still half asleep, follow their parents with quiet obedience, their presence adding a soft layer of life to the awakening village. Everything feels intentional. Nothing is wasted, nothing is rushed. In this era, life moves in harmony with nature rather than against it. The morning does not demand productivity, it invites presence. The soundscape remains minimal. A wooden creak. A distant rooster. The whisper of wind through rice stalks. These small sounds form the heartbeat of the village. Beyond the village, the landscape stretches endlessly, rice fields still wet with morning dew, bamboo groves swaying gently, and distant hills fading into mist. Nature is not separate from life here, it is life itself. Farmers step into the fields as the sun climbs higher, their movement slow and practiced. Each action carries centuries of inherited knowledge. Planting, watering, tending, all done with a quiet respect for the land. There is no sense of ownership, only partnership. Meanwhile, near the village center, a small temple stands still and grounded. Its wooden structure carries the weight of tradition, unchanged by time. A monk sweeps the stone steps, his broom moving in steady, rhythmic strokes. Each motion feels like a meditation, a silent dialogue between human and environment. The village awakens not through noise, but through harmony, a balance between duty and stillness, between human life and the natural world. By now, the sun has fully risen above the horizon. Golden light spreads across rooftops, fields, and paths, turning the village into a living painting of warmth and calm. The mist has almost disappeared, leaving behind a clear sky and a quiet sense of stability. Life is now fully in motion, yet it never feels chaotic. Every person has a place, every action has a purpose. Smoke from cooking fires rises steadily into the air. Tools are carried, meals are shared, and the day continues in its gentle rhythm. Still, even in this awakening, there is silence, not the absence of sound, but the presence of peace. It is the kind of silence that allows thought, reflection, and awareness. This is the beginning of the day in medieval Japan. Not marked by urgency, but by continuity. A reminder that life, in its simplest form, can exist without noise, without pressure, only flow. And as the village fully awakens, the world feels whole again. As the sun rises higher into the sky, the village settles into the quiet rhythm of the morning. The soft golden light replaces the cool tones of dawn, gently warming the wooden walls of each home. What began as stillness slowly becomes motion, not sudden or loud, but calm and deliberate. Inside the houses, the first tasks of the day unfold with quiet precision. A small fire is carefully lit, the crackling of wood blending with the silence of the early hours. Water is heated, rice is prepared, and tea leaves are measured with practiced hands. These actions are repeated day after day, not out of habit alone, but out of respect for tradition. There is a sense of awareness in everything. Every movement feels intentional. Even the act of pouring tea carries a quiet elegance, as steam rises slowly into the air, disappearing into the light. Outside, the village paths begin to fill, but never with noise. People move with purpose, yet without urgency. A man pauses briefly to greet his neighbor with a simple nod. No words are needed. The understanding between them is enough. Morning, in this place, is not a race against time. It is a continuation of balance. At the heart of the village stands a small temple, its wooden structure weathered by time yet unwavering in presence. It is here that the spiritual rhythm of the morning quietly unfolds. A monk steps onto the stone path, holding a simple broom. With slow, steady movements, he begins to sweep the ground. The sound is soft, almost unnoticeable, yet deeply calming. Each stroke is consistent, mindful, and unhurried, not just a task, but a form of meditation. There are no grand ceremonies at this hour. No crowds, no loud chants. Only silence, broken gently by the natural sounds of the environment. The rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, the subtle movement of air through the trees. Inside the temple, the light is dim and warm. Incense burns slowly, its thin trail of smoke rising in delicate patterns. The scent fills the space, creating an atmosphere of calm reflection. A quiet prayer is offered, not in desperation, but in gratitude. The temple does not demand attention. It simply exists, offering stillness to those who seek it. Beyond the temple, the daily life of the village continues in perfect harmony. The morning is now fully awake, yet the pace remains steady and controlled. Women gather near the well, drawing water with wooden buckets. Their movements are synchronized, almost like a silent dance. There is no need for conversation, yet a sense of connection is always present. Children begin to explore the world around them, their curiosity guiding them along narrow paths and open spaces. Their laughter, when it appears, is soft and brief, quickly blending back into the calm environment. Artisans open the doors of their small workshops. A carpenter adjusts his tools, running his hand along the surface of unfinished wood. A potter shapes clay with slow, deliberate motions, each turn of the wheel steady and precise. There is no excess, no waste. Every action has purpose. Every role has value. Life here is not about speed. It is about presence. As the morning progresses, the village reaches a quiet balance between movement and stillness. Smoke continues to rise from the homes, blending into the clear sky above. The light grows stronger, casting defined shadows across the ground, yet nothing feels harsh or overwhelming. Tradition flows through every corner of the village. It is seen in the way people walk, the way they work, and even in the way they pause. There is an unspoken understanding that life is not something to be rushed, but something to be experienced fully, moment by moment. In this world, time is not measured by clocks, but by light, sound, and feeling. The temple remains calm. The fields await. The people continue. And the morning, gentle and steady, carries the village forward into the rest of the day. As the morning fades into midday, the sun rises higher in the sky, casting a steady and unwavering light across the land. The cool softness of dawn is now replaced by a gentle warmth that settles over the village and the surrounding fields. The rice paddies stretch outward like mirrors, reflecting the sky above in quiet stillness. Water rests between rows of young green plants, moving only slightly with the passing breeze. The air feels heavier now, yet not uncomfortable, simply full, alive with the presence of the day. Farmers step carefully into the fields, their feet sinking slightly into the wet earth. Their clothing is simple, designed for movement and endurance. Wide straw hats shield their faces from the growing sunlight, casting soft shadows that move as they work. There is no urgency in their actions. Each movement is measured, practiced, and deeply familiar. Hands move through water and soil with quiet confidence, adjusting plants, clearing small obstructions, ensuring that everything remains in balance. The sound of the fields is subtle but constant. The soft splash of water. The rustling of leaves. The distant hum of insects carried by the warm air. These sounds form a steady rhythm, one that replaces the silence of dawn with a gentle, living presence. Midday has arrived, not with intensity, but with quiet strength. Work continues without interruption, yet it never feels exhausting or chaotic. The rhythm of labor is slow and steady, guided not by pressure, but by understanding. Farmers move in lines, each person focused on their own section of the field, yet always aware of the others nearby. There is a quiet coordination between them, a shared awareness that requires no words. From time to time, someone pauses, not out of fatigue, but to observe. A glance at the sky. A moment to feel the wind. A brief stillness that reconnects them to the natural flow of the day. Tools are simple, yet effective. Wooden handles worn smooth by years of use. Blades sharpened carefully, maintained with respect. These tools are not disposable, they are companions in the work, trusted and understood. Nearby, water channels guide a slow and steady flow through the fields. The movement of water is essential, and it is treated with care. Adjustments are made quietly, ensuring that each section receives what it needs. There is no excess here. No wasted motion. Every action serves a purpose. And within this purpose, there is calm. The midday sun now stands high above, illuminating everything with clarity. Shadows shorten, colors deepen, and the landscape reveals its full detail. The fields shimmer gently under the light, each blade of rice catching the sun in its own way. Small insects move between the plants, unseen but ever present. The air carries a mixture of warmth, moisture, and the faint scent of earth. Nature is not separate from the work being done, it surrounds it, shapes it, and supports it. The farmers do not attempt to control it completely. Instead, they listen, observe, and adapt. A breeze moves across the fields, creating waves that ripple through the rows of green. For a moment, everything seems to move together, plants, water, air, as if the entire landscape is breathing. In the distance, the outline of the village remains visible. Smoke rises slowly from a few homes, blending into the sky. The temple stands quietly, unchanged, watching over the land as it has for generations. Time feels different here. It is not counted in minutes or hours, but in light, in movement, in the gradual shift of the day. And in this moment, everything is exactly as it should be. As midday settles fully into its rhythm, the work continues with the same steady pace. There is no clear beginning or end to the tasks, only a continuous flow that moves naturally with the day. Occasionally, a short break is taken. A farmer steps to the edge of the field, wiping away the warmth of the sun, taking a sip of water, and simply standing still. These pauses are not interruptions, but part of the rhythm itself. There is a quiet understanding that rest and work are not separate things, but parts of the same balance. The sound of insects grows slightly louder as the air warms. The water continues its slow movement through the fields. The distant hills remain still, their presence unchanged. Nothing dramatic happens here. No sudden events, no loud changes. And yet, everything is happening. Life is moving forward, one quiet moment at a time. The fields are being cared for. The day is unfolding. The balance remains. And under the steady light of the midday sun, the world continues, calm, patient, and whole. As midday gently begins to fade, the light of the sun softens, losing its sharpness and settling into a warmer, more forgiving glow. The village, which had been quietly active throughout the morning, now enters a different rhythm, one that feels slower, heavier, yet deeply calm. The fields remain active in the distance, but within the village itself, movement begins to ease. The narrow paths that were once filled with steady footsteps now feel more open, more still. Shadows grow longer, stretching across the ground in soft, elongated shapes. A warm breeze passes gently between the wooden houses, carrying with it the faint scent of earth, wood, and distant cooking fires. It is a subtle reminder that the day is moving forward, even as everything seems to slow. Some villagers return briefly to their homes, stepping inside to escape the warmth of the sun. Others find quiet places to sit, under the shade of a tree, beside a wall, or near the edge of a path. These moments of rest are not interruptions, but a natural part of the day's flow. There is no urgency here. No pressure to fill every moment. The afternoon does not demand action. It invites stillness. The village streets now carry a softer presence. Where there was once movement, there is now space. Where there were tasks, there is now pause. A child walks slowly along a dirt path, tracing patterns in the ground with a small stick. Nearby, another sits quietly, watching the movement of leaves in the wind. Their play is not loud or chaotic, it is gentle, observant, almost reflective. A shopkeeper stands at the entrance of a small wooden store, adjusting simple items laid out for trade. There are no crowds, no rush of buyers. Only the quiet possibility of exchange, waiting patiently. Doors remain partially open, allowing air and light to pass through. Inside, the interiors are calm, shadows resting against wooden walls, soft light falling across simple objects. From time to time, two villagers cross paths. A brief nod is exchanged, a quiet acknowledgement of presence. Words are rarely spoken, yet connection remains. The streets do not feel empty. They feel at peace. The afternoon light begins to shift, turning warmer, deeper, more golden. It touches everything differently now, highlighting textures, revealing details that were hidden under the brightness of midday. Wooden beams glow softly. Dust particles drift through the air, visible only when caught in the light. The entire village seems to breathe more slowly, as if in sync with the changing sky. In the distance, the sound of work continues, but it is faint, almost blending into the background. Closer to the village center, the dominant presence is silence, not complete absence of sound, but a quiet balance of subtle noises. A door slides gently closed. A step echoes briefly, then fades. The wind moves through narrow spaces, creating a soft, continuous whisper. Time feels stretched in this moment. Not paused, but extended. There is room to notice things, the way light moves across the ground, the way shadows shift with each passing moment, the way stillness can exist without emptiness. As the afternoon continues, there is a quiet understanding that the day is beginning to move toward its end. The energy does not rise again, it settles even further, preparing for the calm of evening. Some villagers begin to return fully from their work, their steps unhurried, their presence calm. Tools are carried lightly, placed down with care. There is no sense of exhaustion, only completion. Smoke begins to rise once more from the homes, thin and steady, marking the preparation for the evening meal. The scent of cooking drifts slowly through the air, blending with the warmth of the fading sun. The village is not silent, yet it feels deeply quiet. Everything is softer now, the light, the movement, the sound. And within this softness, there is a sense of continuity. The day has not rushed past. It has unfolded, moment by moment, each part flowing naturally into the next. The afternoon does not end suddenly. It gently becomes evening. As the afternoon slowly gives way to evening, the sun begins its gentle descent toward the horizon. The light softens once more, shifting from warm brightness into a deep, golden glow that spreads across the land. The village, which had settled into quiet stillness, now begins to change again, not with energy, but with a sense of closure. The long shadows stretch even further, reaching across the paths and fields like silent markers of time passing. The air cools slightly, carrying a subtle relief after the warmth of the day. A soft breeze moves through the village, brushing against wooden walls and rustling through leaves. It feels lighter now, calmer, as if the world itself is beginning to exhale. In the distance, the fields are slowly emptying. Farmers make their way back toward the village, their movement steady and unhurried. There is no rush to return, only a natural understanding that the day's work has come to its end. The sky begins to change color, pale blue fading into shades of orange, gold, and soft pink. These colors reflect gently on the surfaces below, turning ordinary scenes into something almost dreamlike. This is not just the end of the day. It is the beginning of stillness. The village paths, once quiet and open, begin to fill again, but only slightly. The returning figures move with calm familiarity, carrying tools, baskets, or simply the quiet weight of the day behind them. There is no conversation of urgency, no loud expression of effort. Only the quiet presence of people returning to where they belong. A farmer pauses briefly at the edge of the village, looking back toward the fields. The light of the setting sun reflects across the water, creating a soft shimmer that slowly fades with each passing moment. It is a simple sight, yet one that holds meaning, a quiet acknowledgement of the work completed. Doors slide open as people enter their homes. Inside, the preparation for the evening begins. Fires are lit once more, their warm glow visible through thin paper screens. The soft crackling of wood blends gently with the quiet sounds of the village. The rhythm of life continues, but now it moves inward. From the open spaces of the fields to the quiet comfort of home. The village paths, once quiet and open, begin to fill again, but only slightly. The returning figures move with calm familiarity, carrying tools, baskets, or simply the quiet weight of the day behind them. There is no conversation of urgency, no loud expression of effort. Only the quiet presence of people returning to where they belong. A farmer pauses briefly at the edge of the village, looking back toward the fields. The light of the setting sun reflects across the water, creating a soft shimmer that slowly fades with each passing moment. It is a simple sight, yet one that holds meaning, a quiet acknowledgement of the work completed. Doors slide open as people enter their homes. Inside, the preparation for the evening begins. Fires are lit once more, their warm glow visible through thin paper screens. The soft crackling of wood blends gently with the quiet sounds of the village. The rhythm of life continues, but now it moves inward. From the open spaces of the fields to the quiet comfort of home. As the sun finally slips below the horizon, the golden light begins to fade. The sky deepens into cooler tones, and the first signs of evening settle over the village. The warmth of the day remains, but only faintly. In its place comes a calm, steady quiet, deeper than before, more complete. Lights begin to appear within the homes. Soft, warm glows shine through paper windows, creating small islands of light in the growing darkness. Smoke rises gently into the evening sky, thinner now, almost blending into the fading light. The sounds of the day continue to fade. Footsteps become rare. Voices, if they appear at all, are soft and brief. The dominant presence is silence, not empty, but full. The village is no longer active in the same way. It is resting. The transition is gradual, almost unnoticeable, yet deeply felt. The day does not end abruptly. It dissolves into night, carrying with it everything that has passed. And as darkness begins to take its place, the world feels ready, calm, settled, and at peace. As the last traces of sunlight disappear beyond the horizon, the village slowly transitions into night. The sky deepens into shades of deep blue and indigo, and the world begins to quiet once more. The warmth of the day lingers in the air, but it is now softened, subdued, almost fading into memory. The village does not change suddenly. There is no clear moment when day becomes night. Instead, it happens gradually, as if the world is gently lowering its voice. One by one, the lights inside the homes become more visible. Soft golden glows appear behind paper windows, creating small pockets of warmth within the growing darkness. These lights do not dominate the night, they simply exist within it, like small stars on the ground. The sounds of daytime activity have now fully faded. The fields are silent. The paths are empty. Even the wind feels slower, calmer, as if it too has chosen to rest. Inside the homes, people move with quiet intention. The final tasks of the day are simple: preparing food, cleaning small spaces, sitting together in silence. There is no urgency in any action, only completion. Night has arrived not as an interruption, but as a continuation of the natural cycle of life. As darkness settles more deeply over the village, the atmosphere becomes increasingly still. The wooden houses, once filled with movement, now rest quietly under the night sky. Shadows no longer stretch or shift dramatically, they simply exist, stable and calm. The village paths are now completely empty. Not abandoned, but at peace. Every structure, every object, every space feels present in its own quiet way. From time to time, a soft sound breaks the silence. A door sliding closed. A faint movement inside a home. The distant rustle of leaves responding to a gentle breeze. These sounds are not interruptions, they are part of the night's language. The temple remains visible even in darkness. Its silhouette is calm and unmoving, a quiet presence at the center of the village. It does not demand attention. It simply stands, as it has through every hour of the day. Above, the sky reveals itself fully. Stars begin to appear, scattered gently across the vast darkness. There is no rush in their arrival. One by one, they emerge, until the sky becomes filled with quiet light. The world does not feel empty at night. It feels complete. Inside the homes, life continues in a softer, more intimate form. Families gather in quiet rooms illuminated by small oil lamps. The light flickers gently against wooden walls, creating moving patterns of warmth and shadow. Conversations, if they occur, are minimal and calm. Often, silence is preferred. There is comfort in simply being together without the need for words. Meals are simple. Shared slowly. Every movement feels deliberate, as if the act of eating itself has become part of a larger ritual of closing the day. Outside, the night continues undisturbed. The village does not feel separate from nature, it feels held by it. The sound of distant insects becomes more noticeable now, blending with the soft rhythm of night air. There is a deep sense of safety in this stillness. Not because nothing exists outside, but because everything feels in balance. The boundary between human life and the natural world becomes less defined at night. Everything is part of the same quiet system. And within that system, there is peace. As the night reaches its deepest point, the village enters a state of profound stillness. Most lights have dimmed or disappeared entirely. Only a few remain, glowing softly in the distance like fading embers. The air is cool now, carrying the final breath of the day. The wind moves slowly through the village, passing between houses, fields, and trees without resistance. There is no movement that demands attention. No sound that breaks the calm. Only the presence of night itself, vast, quiet, and complete. The world feels suspended in time. Not asleep, not awake, simply existing. Above, the stars remain steady. The moon casts a soft, pale light over the landscape, illuminating rooftops and paths in gentle tones. Everything feels softened by darkness, yet nothing is hidden. Instead, everything becomes part of the same quiet whole. This is the stillness of Edo night. Not empty. Not silent. But deeply, completely alive in its quietest form. And as the village rests under the endless sky, the day comes to its final conclusion, not with an ending, but with peace.